Hello, hello. Hope everybody is doing very well today. I am doing very well. Very sleep deprived, but doing very well. It's good to see all of your beautiful faces. Of course, I cannot see anyone today. I'm talking to a camera. It's good to see all of your. Let me mute this. Yeah, I am so not prepared for the live stream today. I'm usually scripted in everything that I do, well prepared for everything, but I decided to go impromptu today. Um, how's everyone doing in the chat? How is everybody doing? Hi, Sizzles. It is so good to see you. It is so good to see you. Reflection, how's it going? You know what, Becky? There was something that I wanted to tell you. So, like one of your videos, you did I forgot what you guys called it. But like where I'm from, they call it gyo. It's those like caterpillar things, and man, it is so good. Watching that video, it made me reminisce of the good times. Um, that I had. The native people of where I lived, they really enjoyed it. At first, when I saw it, I thought it was nasty, but man, it is so good. It is such a delicacy. Wow, more people. It is so good to see everybody here. Hello, hello, hello. I'm doing very well, doing very well. Very sleep deprived, but in general, I am doing great. As you all know, the videos take me quite a while to make, and I only have time during the night to film my videos and to edit and stuff. So it was kind of rough yesterday because I experienced a few issues in regards to filming the videos, but everything worked out well, and I'm grateful. I can't complain much more. So yeah, I just wanted to go live today to speak to you all. I know from the last live stream, there were so many people that I needed to speak that were queued to join the live stream, but unfortunately, due to time, didn't really have the luxury of the time to speak with them. So I'm here to have a conversation with you guys. I don't really have any topic at hand, really. Whichever way you guys want this conversation to go, I will love to go that direction also. Pain worms. Yeah. Oh man. Yeah. It is really, really good. The editing on your video are world class. I appreciate that. Thank you so much. I filmed my first video late 2019, and I really, really enjoyed the whole process of filming. Actually, fun fact, that video took me roughly roughly 4 months to make that video. I had no knowledge of video editing, how to make videos. I knew nothing about it. I just knew that I'm learning so much in regards to the continent, and I want to bring everyone along with me through the journey and through the process of learning. So yeah, I decided to film my first video. Yeah, it took me a really, really long time, and I'm really bad in front of the camera. So I memorized everything that I was gonna say, which is ridiculous. But yeah, I memorized over an hour's worth of things to say, and I gradually learned how to script. And since then, I really enjoyed, the process of making videos. I'm always doing research. I'm always learning more about how to make my videos better and how to just make my storytelling better in general. Akin from New Jersey. Hello, hello. I'm currently in Macon, Georgia. I want people in Nigeria to stop calling foreigners #white Chinese etc. I think is a topic we have to look on. You know what? Let me put the link in the chat. Let me put this link in the chat. All right. I think I understand what you're saying roughly. I'm not completely sure if I 100% understand what you're saying. Man, I so appreciate you losing sleep to bring as much great information. Someday I will be able to award you for your sacrifices. So for the time being, all I do is thank you. I'm so grateful. Having you guys here is more than enough reward for me. It's a guilty pleasure. It's a guilty pleasure, although it's quite strenuous. But I enjoy the process of it, every single part of it. I enjoy um, writing down my ideas. I enjoy scripting the videos. I enjoy the research. I enjoy the editing. Every part of it, I enjoy it. It's really demanding, but I really, really enjoy it. And if I could do this for the rest of my life, I definitely, definitely will. Hi, Akin. What's the topic about? The topic is about anything you want it to be about, any direction in which you like it to go towards. I'll also be premiering a video within the next 27 minutes. If you guys want it to be about that video, I also don't mind taking us in that direction. I think I think you do. I'm just watching my comments. YouTube seems to be police. Oh yeah, YouTube is definitely cracking down on a lot of comments. I get a lot of messages on people saying, Akin, you deleted my video, you deleted my comment. And I don't really delete any comments on this channel. Even the comments in which I'm blatantly insulted, I don't delete them. But there are certain combinations of words that YouTube doesn't like. So they'll hide those words, they'll hide that comment. And sometimes, very few occasions, I will get a notification of the comment, and I'll be able to permit, what's the word I'm looking for? I'll be able to what's the word I'm looking for? I'll be able to approve it. That's what I'm trying to say. I'll be able to approve the comment. But other times, if the comment is just like really bad, I there's nothing that I can do. And sometimes I can't even read the entire comment. I'm only gonna see like the first few lines of it. Oh wow, you're in New Jersey too, Val? Val, it is so good to have you here. It's the algorithm at work. Val, I appreciate all your comments. Like I never would have imagined that my videos are being played in a classroom. Like that means so much to me. Um, it's so fulfilling, and I never would have imagined that I'll get this level of fulfillment. I believe you said you were a teacher in the past, Val, if I'm not mistaken. But I have gotten a few teachers on this channel. And they told me that they play my videos in the class. So that those comments make my day. They make my day. I'm really glad to hear and see those comments. How is everyone else doing today? How is everyone doing today? 23 people watching. Guys, don't forget to press the like button on this video. So really, I wanted to open up this platform for us to have a discussion, whatever it is, that you guys want to talk about in relation to the continent, open random questions that you may have for me. Also, after this live stream, we'll be redirected to the premiere of my new video that's coming up, and it's in regards to investing in Africa. I can't wait for the premiere of that. Hello, Akin. I'm a teacher for a global online school and love sharing your videos with students. I'm very grateful to you for putting your work out. Thank you so much. Wow. I appreciate that so much. Man, you have no idea how much your work helps and stuff. I'm so grateful. Like, I'm so grateful to have you guys here. I'm so grateful to have an audience that actually, that I'm actually able to bring some sort of value to. It means so, so much to me. And I enjoy that. I enjoy having you guys here. It's fun. What kind of research were you making? So I got a there's what's it called? There's a series that, well, so I get a lot of comments, of course, on a few videos, a lot of which are controversial, a lot of which I would love to, that so I respond to all the comments on my videos, of course. And I feel like some comments require an entire video. And there was a comment that I got on one of my channels, and it was like, Africa will be a much better place if colonization lasted a little longer. So they were comparing the rest of Africa to South Africa, and they were saying that maybe the rest of Africa will be as good as South Africa is if colonization lasted a little longer. And there's so much to unravel within that comment. And I knew that I wanted to tackle that comment through the perspective of South Africa being the most unequal nation in the world. And it's really just like blatantly obvious how unequal South Africa is. You can see, what's it called? You can see drone shots of South Africa where across the street is a very wealthy neighborhood, and on the other side of the street is just slums, right? Like, it's so obvious. The amount of inequality in South Africa, there's a reason why South Africa is called the most unequal country in the world, because of, it it's so I was doing research in regards to that just to gain more knowledge. I've always known that South Africa was unequal, but I wanted to know more about it. And scrolling through YouTube and online, I found a video, South Africa, most unequal country in the world. And that was Jay Sola's first series. And ever since, I've been hooked, and I enjoy his channel. I'm his biggest fan. If you guys are not familiar with Jay Sola, he has a series in regards to a lot of issues pertaining to South Africa, a lot of the race issues pertaining to South Africa. And I've learned so much, and not even just from his videos, but even just from him personally, and also through the live stream. He was able to even change my paradigm in the way that I view Africa and Africans. So I've always considered myself a Pan-African, that anyone born and raised in Africa is African despite of your skin color. But he was able to put things into a better perspective to me. So, like, we're all familiar with the fact that there are Caucasian South Africans who's been in South Africa for 300 year plus. So someone in the past asked me, like, will I consider them African? And I will say, before I say, yeah, of course, they're born in Africa. But considering I didn't like know the full story of, these Dutch immigrants in South Africa. And pretty much there hasn't really been a mix with the community that they're in currently. They've always kept a distance with the general South African population. So we can't really consider them Africans. They, first of all, don't speak the same language. And there's just not that cohesiveness. They haven't blended in with the environment. So if I, for example, was born in China and I speak fluent Chinese, there's sort of a gray area to it where, I mean, I'm integrated into the society. But if I was born in China and I refuse to learn Chinese, I barely have any Chinese friends, and I isolate myself from, the Chinese community, it's not really accurate to refer to myself as Chinese because I haven't really integrated myself into that society. There's a lot of comments that I am yet to read. About inequality. I looked at a video. It was based in the DRC. Fun fact, DRC is my favorite country. Ken, we really love to hear your commentaries. We teachers have to stick together to make sure our people are educated. Yeah, you know that I appreciate that. Thank you so much, Carla. Um, yeah, one of my reasons for creating the channel is to share everything that I'm learning in regards to the continent with everyone, because like there's so much that a lot of us don't know and we weren't taught in schools. Like throughout my duration in Nigeria, I attended my elementary, parts of my middle, and my entire high school in Nigeria, but I knew nothing about Nigeria's history. I knew nothing about Nok culture. I knew nothing about the Benin bronzes. Yeah, yeah, there's just so much that, you know, we need to be taught in regards to our history. And a few years ago, I learned about Masa Musa, and that hit me, you know, a very strange way. You know, like the richest person to have ever lived was from Africa. Like literally, you know, at the time, my paradigm in regards to Africa was like we really didn't have much until Europeans came in. And that is how a lot of people are, due to the fact that we're not taught certain parts of our history. And I wanted to bring everyone along with me as I'm learning. I'm still learning. There's still so much that I need to learn. And I just wanted to bring people along with me through the journey. And like us not knowing certain parts of our history, it makes us so vulnerable. So like I recently learned about Nigeria during the process of colonization, and there was this guy, Frederick Lugard, who, wow, who committed so much atrocities in Nigeria. He's responsible for the death of so many Nigerians, and he's celebrated in Nigeria. Like, if Nigerians knew the history behind, you know, this man and the things that he's done to Nigeria, this is someone not to be celebrated. You know, we have buildings named after him, we have streets named after him, we have sculptures, what's the word, effigies, right? We have effigies built after him, we have an entire house. And like in schools, you know how like we sing nursery rhymes in schools, there are nursery rhymes that that they made, and it's sort of like celebrating this man. I don't know the nursery rhyme, but on one of my friends on YouTube, you know what? I'm gonna find his channel. It's gonna be a little difficult to find that video, but when he was growing up, it was more like a praise song that they're singing, um, uh, to this man, you know, like so it makes us to view him more of a hero, like he did something good for the country, you know, like so like not knowing certain parts of our history really makes us vulnerable to a lot of things, and not even just the inferiority complex that it generates, it also generates a void in us. And if we're not aware of that void, it has such a significant impact on us. Like not being taught my history, all I knew was Nigeria now, right? So I didn't know all the events that took place to lead not even just Nigeria, the entire Africa as a whole. I didn't know the events that took place to lead Africa to where it is now. And I liken it to the big picture wise. You know, if we see the small picture, for example, it's easy to be misdirected. Um, a common example of this is the United States, for example. The United States has more prisoners in prison than the entire world, right? There are more people in prison in the United States than there are people in prison elsewhere in the world. And the majority of people that are in prison in the United States are African Americans. So, one, looking at the small picture, looking at the fact that a lot of African Americans are in prison, just looking at the small picture, will create a misconception that African Americans are prone to crime. That is why they're in prison, right? That's what will be portrayed. But that totally neglects the fact that African Americans, through slavery were brought here. It totally neglects the fact that African Americans weren't permitted jobs, weren't permitted schools, weren't permitted were restricted to certain areas to live in, right? That's what like the big picture will show you, and that will show you how, and like there's so much more, like when you look at the bigger picture, you get such a broader understanding of everything that's going on. So like a child that grows up in a very impoverished area in Africa, not knowing the events that have led to that society to be where it is currently, that child can view themselves as inferior, especially when they see others come in and to offer aid and medical assistance. They're gonna view themselves as inferior, right? And this plays a big role in like our race as a whole, right? Because it doesn't matter where you go in the world. We have the same struggles. And as a Pan-African, I like to consider myself one. Due to the fact that we all have the same struggles, okay, I see someone has joined the conversation. Guys, I'm going to post the link to this conversation one more time. All right. Feel free to join the conversation. There isn't a topic here. We're just going as going along with the flow.
Hey.
Hello, African millennial.
Hi, are you nervous?
Am I nervous? I'm sorry, did you say am I nervous?
Yeah, you look a little like you sound like a little bit nervous. Are you okay?
I am terrified.
Oh, don't be terrified. It's just Africans. Don't worry about us.
It's good to have you here. It's good to have you here. It is so good to have you here. So good to have you here. How's it going?
Yeah, no, things are going really good.
How's your day going?
Well, where I am right now, I'm in Canada, so it's pretty early here still. So I have a lot of time. The day just started for me, kind of. It's not that early, but yeah, I'm just late today.
That is interesting.
Friday.
If I may ask, how did you find my channel?
I think you did I think it was one of your videos. It was, "Is Africa really poor?" or something like that.
Oh yeah.
And then after I saw you on Tuna Cheki. And then so that's how I got introduced to your channel.
Oh, it's good to have you here. It's so good to have you here. Tuna Cheki has been an elder brother to me. Whatever I needed, advice, he definitely has been very helpful. So I'm really grateful to him.
Yeah, no, and I'm very, we're very happy that your channel has grown so much, and we like the quality of your channel. Like, we like the quality of your videos. It's just interesting.
Thank you so much, so much. I'm very grateful, very grateful. Jamel!
Man, what's up, man? Listen, I'm so happy I had a chance to get in on this today, man.
It's good to have you here,
It's
bro.
good to see you, bro. I told you, I'm so proud of what you're doing, bro.
I appreciate it, man. I'm grateful. I'm grateful. So grateful.
But I love the topic you were talking about earlier, with the
Sorry.
whole South African.
Yeah.
Yeah, bro. I see that all through Africa. That's the problem. Is this both discrepancies where you have a poor neighborhood right across the street. For example, you have people like in Nigeria, right? You have billionaires, people who are ridiculously wealthy, but at the same time, you have a place like Makoko where people can barely afford food. So it's crazy that we as Africans, we all carry the name, the brand as Africans, but we all don't have the same African experience. And I found a problem with that.
And like that experience, of course, it's we witness. Sorry, we witness it. Really in every society in which we are in, right? It's a similar society. It's a similar scenario in the Caribbean, of course, in Africa, in Europe, in the United States. Yeah, we definitely do witness that in all these societies.
Yeah, and then the second thing you talked about, which I found pretty interesting, was the fact that we have this European history still in our culture, like today. Being from Liberia, it's so crazy that I find for people who don't know, the capital city of Liberia is called Monrovia. Now, this is named after James Monroe, the president
Uh,
of the United States, which is crazy because this guy, he used to own slaves. Can you imagine?
oh,
Really?
This
crazy.
guy, yeah, and Mayowa, this is the thing. This man was a avid slave owner. He had many slaves. So you get this group of people, these black people who say to themselves, "We want to go back to the continent, and we want to go back and rejoin our African brothers and sisters." But you leave this place and you go back to the Africa, Liberia today, and you take on that same mentality. The first thing they do is for example, the Declaration of Independence is literally the exact same. The flag of Liberia, I don't know if anyone has seen it. Is the
Yeah, it looks like
Yeah.
I thought it was the U.S.
Exactly. It has one. So the U.S. has 50 stars, I believe, and Liberia we have 1 star. Same flag. And then the thing that bothers me always though is the capital city, Monrovia, named after this man who pretty much did not like people of color. And we have this capital to carry on his image. Like, what did he do for us? That we need to praise his name.
Man, we have so much work to do. It's crazy. I did not know the capital. Like that's
sometimes it's like
because Liberia means freedom, right? Like,
go ahead.
The whole formation of Liberia was through miracle Liberians.
Yeah, exactly. So Liberia, it means liberty. I believe in Portuguese or something like that. It's like the word liber or something like that for liberty, so freedom. So the country was founded to basically establish this free state for, well, I wouldn't say for Africans because I'm a native. So what technically I'm a native. I really don't see the difference between people who came back and myself, but in Liberia, I will be called native, somebody who was indigenous to the land before the American Liberians came. But it's just funny because Liberia at the time it had a very divided culture, right? So you have these former inhabitants of America. They will go back to Liberia and create a state where people like myself, the natives, my ancestors were kind of outcasted from that society, right? Because, for example, the independence, the Declaration of Independence, it said uh, the citizens of Liberia were former inhabitants of America. So it's basically saying that if you did not come from America, you're technically not a Liberian. Yeah. So for that reason, Native Liberians did not have the rights to vote for 100 years in their own land. 100 years, I believe it was. So we got the independence maybe 1946, and it took until 1846, and it took until 1946 for people like myself to vote in Liberia, in our own land.
That's
So
crazy.
that's why I like the fact that African Americans are seeing the beauty in being African, right? This whole Back to Africa movement. But I really hope that is something they actually want, rather than saying I'm going here to help these people.
Hello.
Somebody saying something?
Hi, Pan-Africanism. You're currently muted. You know, just to like add on to what you're saying, like there is I do see, you know, like the unity between Africans and African Americans is beginning to rekindle, because we're beginning to realize that we're the same people. Despite the fact that you're in America and we're in Africa, we have very similar struggles. It doesn't matter if you and I go to China, for example, there'll be no difference between us. And I believe like the major divide between Africans and African Americans, like I've spent half of my life in Africa and the other half in America. And I believe like the conflict, right, the conflict that is being resolved currently is due to like misinformation. Our perspective on Africa is different from our perspective on those that African Americans have for Africa. For example, in Africa, we're showing a lot of thug movies, a lot of yeah. So our parents, right, will be like, don't associate with them. They're not good company. They're violent. They're killing each other. They're all drug addicts or they're in jail. That is the perception that Africans receive of African Americans. Whilst for African Americans, their perception on Africa is child soldiers, war, famine, poverty, all those commercials that we see on the internet. And, you know, these are things that no one really wants to be associated with, right? So just seeing these two biased perspectives, right? Because this is what we're shown about each other. That creates some sort of a conflict between us. And I'm really grateful for the movie Black Panther, because whether or not anyone likes it, that was amongst the major initiators to rekindle the relationship of Africans and African Americans, right? And also the Back to Africa movement.
Yeah.
I think it's one of the things that is helping to bridge the gap between us.
The Black Panther movie. I have a little bit of a problem with that. The only reason is I think it paints the wrong image of Africa, and I always have to be honest with myself and most Africans. Being a student here in America now for a few years now, I realize there are two types of Africans you tend to meet in America, or at least in college or university. You meet the ones whose parents are politicians and business owners back home, and you meet people such like myself who really don't come from you don't come from money, right? You don't come from money, so the Africa the image of Africa you have back home is completely different than the ones somebody whose parents are in government or they have some type of family business or legacy they have, right? Africa for them is fun. Is, you know, we go and get ice cream, we have fun, we go to a movie, you know, we live in a big house with a gay man. And not the same for 99.9% of Africans, right? The kids that have to hawk puff puff on the street all day before they can pay to go to school. So the movie for me, I think it shows this image of Africa that is like we are all here doing amazing. We're doing fine. We don't need the rest of the world. In fact, we own everything so much so that we don't really need the West. I think we need the West for certain things, for what they owe us, because I do believe they owe us a lot.
I don't think we're getting that.
So I do believe. Go ahead.
So like, of course, Black Panther is a movie, and what's the word? There's fiction,
Yeah,
fiction. Is it fiction? Is that the
yeah,
word I'm
fiction.
looking for?
Yeah, fake,
Uh,
fake.
yeah, yeah. It's a theoretical place. What's the name of the place? Also, it's not Uganda.
Wakanda. But do you know people actually believe that though? Do you do you
It's
know
crazy.
actually people actually
Believe
believe
that.
that
It's crazy
Wakanda is
people
like an
believe
actual place?
yeah, I didn't really expect realism from the
But
movie,
I
but
like the Black Panther because, as someone mentioned before, and I'm sorry, I just wanted to say it, because we're tired of the World Vision Africa. Like, I don't know about you, but I'm tired of the World Vision Africa that they show all the time. Like, yes, in Africa people are in poverty, but it's not usually the level of world vision that they say. It's
yeah,
okay, we all live in one house, but it's because that's like your grandfather's house and we all live there. But it's not like, oh, we don't have water. Like, some of us, we just well water, but it's not like we don't have water.
and like the depiction of poverty, that they show in Africa is very much exaggerated. Um, and not only that, it creates a lot of misconceptions. So poverty, in a video that I've mentioned in the past, poverty is relative. We look at a society like the Maasai, who are cattle rearers. For the most part, they're nomads, um, and they live amongst their cows. Wherever their cows go, so do they. One can consider them to be poor, but not know that these people, even their children, they're worth more than you are. Just because they don't hold dollars, all their assets together is worth more than a lot of people. These a lot of these children can even be millionaires if they sell all their cattle that they have. Or the same with the Fulanis also. Yeah, the Fulanis, they're nomads, but considering how much their cows are worth, they don't even want money. That's the crazy part about it. They don't want money. They hold their assets in cattle, and that's just the way they live their life. So if one considers poverty as people having no place to sleep, people not having money, that's definitely not poverty. Poverty is very relative. And another misconception that has been created is like through these commercials showing Africa being needy. Like as you mentioned, Jamel, Africa doesn't really need anything. All we need is just better better governance, and for the
Yeah, that's
world
what I
to
said.
change
Oh
their
man, yeah.
us. Yeah, like we don't need used clothes. We don't need foreign aid. We don't need we don't need medical volunteers. That's one thing that I covered in my video. Is actually premiering right now. I was supposed to end this live stream so that we can be redirected to the premiere, but we can watch that video later. But in the video I mentioned of how, like, in Nigeria, for example, half of the doctors in Nigeria are not in Nigeria. Half of Nigerian doctors are not in Nigeria. They're practicing elsewhere. And it's an irony because, and this is not even just for Nigeria, this is for every African country. A lot of our great minds, a lot of our doctors, they practice elsewhere. So it's an irony because Africa is supplying the world with doctors, but yet whenever there's an outbreak of something, everyone is eager to offer medical volunteers to Africa. So that's really another misconception right there that they have in regards to Africa.
You know what? I agree. And I think a great example of the fact that we don't need much is Burkina Faso, right? Thomas Sankara in
Land of
Burkina
the
Faso.
upright man.
Exactly. If you see what that man was able to achieve in Burkina Faso in such a, I believe it was maybe 5 or 7 years, very short time. And it all started with the idea that we have everything already that we need.
Yeah, yeah.
right? We can make our own clothes. We can grow our own foods. We can create jobs for our country. The problem is we have certain individuals that they don't want to see us go far forward. They are against Africans moving forward. And it saddens me that most of those people are Africans in the first place, right?
That's
So
true.
you look at people like Blaise Compaoré of Burkina Faso at the time. He was a right-hand man to Sankara. And you see this positive movement that he's trying to bring in this country, this development, this liberation, especially to women at the time. And he looked at that and says, you know what? No, I'd rather be rich and have everyone else suffer. That's the mentality that we seem to have, where we have our officials. They want to be rich, where I want to gain the money. I want to get all of this wealth and look at my next door neighbor and look at him being poor. That's the problem. So if we can have a society where Africans can say we can all suffer now for our future generation to be better, I think that's the only way we can move forward. But we have that greedy mindset that, well, is every man for himself is a problem.
Yes, can I say something?
Go ahead, please.
Yeah. Thanks for having me. Yeah, you're doing a great job. Yeah, I've seen a lot of your videos, and they are really, really very informative and educative. Yeah, so talking about selfishness, I think you're really right. I think selfishness is one of the biggest problems that we have in Africa. And so because I used to work in I live in the UK, so I used to work in the planning department, and so local government planning department, and then we have sort of like a plan for, in the next 20, 30 years, like looking at where development we go, where houses we go, based on population projection and a lot of other things, to be able to allocate land to where different things we go. And I used to thinking I just wish that we can do this in Africa, because every government that get in, all they're thinking about is how can I just do this, fraudulent project, and then we can then cut ribbons and say that, oh yes, I've done this road, I've done that water project, but we can actually have.
I'm sorry to cut you off. Like exactly what you said. A lot of these politicians, they do shady businesses with China, just to have an instant project there, so that they can say, yeah, we did this also. I'm sorry to cut you short.
So but if we can actually look at what that brother said in terms of looking really into the future, this is what we want to achieve for Africa. So it doesn't really matter if this happened during my tenure in government, so it's all about, the future. And we tend to have that problem of nepotism as well. Like what you said, if me and you appear in China, they're just going to look at us the same. They will just say, oh, the Africa or black man. But here we are in Africa, and then somebody say, oh, I'm an Hausa man, I'm Igbo, Yoruba, and Swahili, and then people start carrying guns and fighting, and then you're thinking who is benefiting from all this is the people that are making the guns. And we just need to get to that point whereby we are now developing our continent, not see. Actually, I was reading this book, and really very fascinating reading this book, but it's seen for me how Europe underdeveloped Africa. The thing for me in this book is okay, so all that has been done to us, but now we need to then start moving forward, and it's important to know where we're coming from, but at the same time we now need to look at all those other countries Malaysia, other countries that were at the same level as us before, and they've now moved on. So we need to now start moving on and getting motivation. There's another book. The way I like to read different books. I get bored reading one particular book. I get bored reading one particular book at the time. So I like to read, like, I can read like maybe 2 different books at the same time, like drop that, read a bit about. So this book as well is like, you know, looking at the achievement that have been achieved before in terms of like, you know, even the Egyptians that we look at them like, okay, maybe the white and whatever, but Egyptians, they were actually blacks, you know, and you know, all those ancient civilizations, we need to get motivation from that we are really very intelligent people. And, you know, I don't know, you know, there's just a lot of things that are holding us back that we need to just move forward and, you know, build those, like, you know, Wakanda or whatever futuristic cities and like all those stuff that Akon, so like all this project that Akon
it's all achievable.
promote.
It's all achievable. We can achieve all of these things because Mayowa, you said, Akin, you said we have the resources to do anything we want in Africa. The resources we have are vast. If we didn't, there will be no reason why every country in this world want a piece of Africa. You understand? But the first thing is rate of the aid we receive from other countries is poison. Do you understand? Sankara said the one who feeds you control you. So if you're taking food or whatever from China, believe me, they're coming in the back door and taking something else. Nothing is free. Nothing is for free.
For sure, for sure.
Hello.
And go ahead, Festus. It's good to have you here, Festus. It's good to have you here. Pan-Africanism, how are you doing? You can unmute.
Hello. Okay. Hello. Can you hear me?
I can hear you.
Okay. Good morning. This is morning time in Australia.
Oh, Australia. I have a friend in Australia. We say she's from Mars because our time is pretty much opposites. Good morning. Good morning, Festus.
Okay, this is 6:42 a.m. in Australia. Anyway, let me share a few light on some things I want to talk about. First, let me start on the issue of slave trade. People will talk about slave trade today. Now, one of the key advocates of slave trade liberalization in America was Thomas Jefferson. That's American third president.
Mm-hmm.
It was shocking for me to realize that Thomas Jefferson that advocated for slaves to be free in America and across the world. When America stopped slave trade in the 18th century, Thomas Jefferson still had slaves in his house and in his farm. Mm-hmm. And what I found really despicable was when he died, he had slaves in his house and even had children from one of his slaves. Today, that's a lady's children were not even part of American history. Anyway, that's a story for another day. That tells you about the hypocrisy of the American system. Now, earlier last night, I wrote a bit of a masterpiece I just shared my thoughts on what is going on in Africa. For Africa to be free, firstly, we need visionary leadership. You understand? It's good for us to come up and point out all the issues that are going on back home, but we need visionary leadership. That's the first thing. We need leaders that can stand up for Africa. Our continent is dying. We have the richest mineral and natural resources. It's unfortunate that for me to travel from Nigeria to Ethiopia, I have to first go to France, then come to Ethiopia. It doesn't make any sense. If we are going from Nigeria to neighboring countries, Benin Republic, that's called Dahomey. Now, by the time you get to the border of Cotonou, they start speaking French. They make things very difficult for you. The same thing going to Cameroon, going to Niger. So a whole lot of fundamental issues are wrong back home. And most of the leaders that would have developed Africa, that are pro-Africa, are removed by Western powers. Because when you have leaders who are pro-Africa, they will not stand up, they will stand against the Western influence. For instance, Muammar Gaddafi. See, today, that's one of the most transformational leaders Africa has ever produced. But Americans came and say, oh, he has been in power for 41 years, we need to remove him. He's not democratic. This is the only African leader that never promoted himself in power. Gowon and many others, they promoted themselves. Gowon was a colonel when he became head of state, but by the time he left, was a general. But Gaddafi was remained a colonel for 42 years. That's one. Secondly, Libya was the only country in Africa that had no domestic or foreign debt. Why did America remove him? Libya had oil, and Libya was doing business with Russia. So it was a threat to the American powers. Do you understand? So most of all these are the reasons why African leaders are pro-Africa are generally removed by Western powers. Another example is the current one in Nigeria. Muhammadu Buhari was campaigned by what they call him, Obama. It even did a live video on the eve of Nigerian election. You know, today what has happened in 2014? Nigerian economy was the fastest growing economy in the whole world, according to World Bank. Now, in 6 years, Nigeria had two different recessions. Today, we're the poverty capital of the world. Unemployment rate in Nigeria is 33%. We have about 130 million people living below poverty. What does that tell you? Are you telling me that Buhari is a better person to lead Nigeria? We had other good people. But American elites wanted somebody that would have American interests. That's one. Then lastly, I talk about the issue of NSAS. Now, when the NSAS movement was happening in October last year, American government never talked about it. I remember I had to personally, I had to call UN Security Council. I called them from here. I tried to get their number. I couldn't get across to them. Finally, on the 23rd or so of October last year, I got across to them. And I told the spokesperson, I said, what happened in Nigeria on the 20th of October that's last year is a replica of genocide. And if you look at the UN Convention, it symbolizes genocide. Why is the United Nations not involving in what's going on in the country? He told me that the UN Secretary General, that's Antonio Guterres, is already aware of the situation. I said, we don't need paper talk. We need action. We need to remove the government of the day. See, today, what has happened? What about the petitions we have signed? Look at the same thing with Uganda. Museveni has been in power for God knows when. Biya has been in power for 45 years. How come America is not talking? All these things are getting me pissed off. Anyway, let me stop here.
I see where you're coming from. I definitely know where you're coming from. Yeah, you know, for governments that they should speak out against, they don't. Museveni being Uganda being one of them. I definitely do.
Can I say something? Sorry, I don't think. Well, somebody can disagree with me. I don't think we are completely free from. I mean, you know about the Scramble for Africa, the Berlin conference and all of that. I don't think we are completely free from them yet. I don't think so.
Let me go shortly. Do you know that?
I think we can be free from them if the whole of Africa can actually come together to cooperate. That's the leaders in Africa to cooperate together and say that we actually really want to be free from these people now.
Let me shock you. Do you know that French colonies still pay money to Paris government? Do you know that? Date?
I don't know.
Are you aware?
No.
Yeah.
Now, why is
dollars every year? Is amount $1 billion every year.
I think last year or so, Trump slightly talked about Cameroon. He said that Cameroon should do a democratic election. He didn't really go for that. Why didn't he hammer on Cameroon? Do you know why? If Trump should hammer, if American government should clamp down on Cameroon, their colonial powers will come after them, which is France. And I hope you know that France supported American independence in 1774. France helped them. That's why French government today still have a part with American government. Louisiana is a former territory of France. I hope you know. Louisiana, it was named after King Louis XVI. Yes, that's America. I'm telling you.
Yeah. So, I mean, I can't remember whether I wrote it in an article or whether I mentioned it in a video.
And the American government bought it $2 million. Today, do you know the economy of Louisiana is over 100 and something $billion? Yes.
Yeah.
That
Yeah.
was when the French were experiencing decline. Even states like what they call this state, Alaska in America. Alaska is not in America, but America bought it from Russia.
Yeah.
It's an island state. America has 50 states, and let's not talk about America right now. What I'm saying is, Western powers need to remove hands from Africa. If not, Africa will not grow. Robbie has been there for 45 years. 45 years.
Okay, so here's the thing. We give them too much power when we say they need to remove from Africa. We need to kick them out of Africa. I think that's a better way of saying it, because we pretend that these. Go ahead.
You're right. Yes.
Yeah. So we pretend that these people had some sort of power in the beginning. You realize the only power these people have is the fact that they continue to give us money, food, clothes, and they send people every year, every 4 years, every 6 years to sit and tell us that we are democratic. We give these people power that they don't have in the first place. Now, if we're saying that, when can Africa be liberated? This can only happen when we stop doing that. This can only happen when we say we as Africans are ready to take back what is ours. We
already started that movement now. Like we are having this conversation. Africans are getting enlightened on what is their right and their wrong. Yes.
Yeah.
If I may say, I think, I still think countries have enormous amount of power over Africa, actually, and I feel like the power has evolved. In a way, it has evolved. It's not what it used to be during colonial era. I feel like it has evolved to more economic power, in the sense that I feel like Africa will do best if we're all united together. By that I mean, Festus, you mentioned of how you have to travel. If you're trying to go to another country, you have to first travel to France before you can now go to another.
Yes, you have to go to Europe first.
Yeah.
Why?
It's easier. It's cheaper to import goods to Nigeria than it is to send your goods from one area to Nigeria to another area in Nigeria. It's more expensive to take your goods from Nigeria to our neighboring Cameroon. So Cameroon goes and import their. I'm from Benue State in Nigeria. I was born in Benue State, Nigeria, also known as the food basket of the nation. We still import food. It's cheaper to import food into the food basket of the nation than it is to move food around within the nation. Unless Africa can be united, not only through language, and that is very possible. It's very possible for us to be united through one language, through one African language. I propose Swahili.
Swahili, yeah, that's what I propose as well.
I agree.
Because we're all, like, every Nigerian knows French. What are we doing knowing French? You know, like we're throughout our whole secondary school, we're being taught French. If it can be switched to Swahili, that way we can communicate with someone in Central Africa and East Africa. But like, so Cameroon importing most of its goods from France, right? It makes it more beneficial to them to have a solid relationship with France, because if they don't, where else are they going to get, you know, what they need? So unless Africa is united, unless we can reduce the cost of movement within Africa, and
I don't understand why we had to apply for visa as well to go to.
It's ridiculous.
I totally agree.
I feel like that is how the power has shifted, right? It's no more what it used to be during the colonial era. It has definitely shifted to be more economic based, where
it's economic power now,
your economy will suffer.
The problem, the issue
do you know, Akin, that most Africans find it difficult to believe that somebody is homeless in America. They find it difficult to believe that there's poverty in UK. The poverty level in the UK is about 14 million people are living below poverty, but they will not bring up all those things. People find it difficult to believe that France also has poverty. You know, they'll just keep on. I don't blame them. I think it's the Western media, because the Western media, like CNN, they make you look at America as one heaven on earth. By the time you arrive in America, you now realize, man, this is not like what you expected. Then when they're looking at Africa, they're showing you a child that has big stomach, small head, malnourished body, and all those things. Those things don't happen. And they show Africans as if people live in cave. I remember when I came here last year, some people were asking me, have you been to America before? I said, no. So your English is so fluent. I said, for God's sake, we're colonized by Britain. What the hell are you telling me about? You that came from Czechoslovakia, you have lived in Australia for 30 years. Your English is not still fluent. You know, it makes no sense. Some people still ask you, like, how do you get to know of Australia? Somebody asked some kind of stupid questions in this 21st century. They just think that, oh, I feel very terrible, because they just made me feel like, oh, Africa is one kind of shithole. Let me tell you, the most cleanest capital city in Africa is Kigali. It's even cleaner than California. Yes. California is the richest state in America. It's one of the most mismanaged states in the US as well. You can agree with me as well, because I follow American news and I follow their political setting. Yes.
The homelessness in California is crazy.
You know what I think? I think for us to to unify Africa, we have to do exactly what Kagame did in Rwanda. We have to rid ourselves of tribal identities. That's the only way.
For sure.
The only way I'm saying that is because we are very tribalistic, man. Like Nigeria, I believe you guys have over 200 tribes, maybe 300. I'm not even sure.
We have over 250 ethnic groups. In fact, Nigeria is the most diversified state. Nigeria is more diversified than the whole of Europe. We have more languages in Nigeria than Europe.
My country,
makes no sense.
My country have
even one state has more diversity than entire Europe. Yeah.
Okay.
Exactly. I was just about to say that.
Sorry to cut you short. Do you know that I'm from Delta State? In Delta State, we have over 25 languages from my state.
Yeah.
Okay. So.
The same with Benue State.
Yeah, my country, the population of my entire country is about 6 million, 5 to 6, something like that. I mean, if you're counting people who live outside of Liberia, like myself, it's 5 million. And just in that 5 million, we have 20 tribes. 20 tribes in 5 million, a population of 5 million. Now you get to a place like Lagos, where the population, I believe, is like 22 million or something crazy like that.
And Lagos is about 26 million.
Exactly. So you have this huge pot with different people, and everybody wants to say, you know what, I'm from here. That's the problem, is when we say, how do we unify Africa? Now the Fulanis are saying, well, our guy is going to be president of Africa. Now somebody from the Akan of Ghana, they're saying we're going to be president. Then what about the South Africans, the Zulus? They want to be presidents too. And then not forgetting the Arabs up north, they want to be presidents too. That was the problem with Gaddafi. Gaddafi had a great idea. He said, let's unify Africa, but I'm going to be king. Now you have everyone else saying, well, your idea is great, but you're not going to be king. We're not going to unify Africa. So that's the whole problem, is the only way we can do that is to say, you know what, there's no more Liberia, there's no more Nigeria, there's no more Algeria, there's no more South Africa. There's just one place called Africa, and everyone that exists in these boundaries are Africans. No tribes, just I'm not saying neglect your languages. Our languages are beautiful. The Igbo, the Yoruba is beautiful. We can have those identity. It's what makes us Africans. But to rely on those things and say, you know what, I am this because of my ethnic background, that's the biggest cause of war in our place, man.
I think we have problem of religion as well. I mean, I'm a Christian.
Thank you. I was coming to that.
I'm a Christian, but definitely, I think religion, because when you go back to look at before Christianity and Islamic came to Africa, There was something that our forefathers were doing before. So, I mean, I'm not saying that go back to go and study far, which is another topic anyway, But the thing is that when you look at, just go on Wikipedia, on Google, and search for ethnic or search for clash or fighting that have happened in Nigeria, for example, in the last maybe 20, 30 years, and just do a keyword find religion. You just be amazed how many of those clashes were as a result of religion crisis. So when you think about it, religion is a problem as well. It's really a massive problem, Christian fighting Muslim, and then you having problem of when we talk about personal development and all of that, where a lot of things that people are supposed to just take practical action on something, but instead of that, they will prepare to just go to church and pray for the whole day or the whole week. And then the time that's supposed to be spent to actually take practical actions to achieve something, they haven't really had the time to do that, but they can just pray all day. If I am a president of United Africa or Nigeria and I have a magic wand, I will also say that instead of you building this massive building, I'm not saying there's anything wrong with building massive buildings for churches, but why not think about having a factory that manufactures something, or a research center, not just like, having massive building and 50, whatever number of people gathering and praying. I'm not saying there's anything wrong with that. I'm a Christian. I really value the Bible, a lot of wisdom in the Bible, but a lot of these churches in Africa and men of God with private jet, I'm not against, spending your money on private jet and all of that, but thinking about what are the things that need to be of priority in terms of manufacturing is one of the biggest problems we have in Africa. All the resources go elsewhere, they manufacture things and then they import them, even all the suits and everything, microphones that they use, we can't even manufacture them in Africa. Not that we don't have the brain, but it's just because we don't place priority on them and establish research center instead of building massive building.
I'm talking about the issue of religion. Do you know that? Let's look at Christianity, for instance.
I'm sorry, please. I'm so sorry to cut you short, but I just wanted to let me take this out quickly. Brian of the Caribbean and Pan-Africanism. I haven't heard from you guys. I promise I'll get back to you, Festus. Are you guys here?
Yes, I am.
Hi, Brian. Good to have you here.
Brother, thank you for this. Wanted to let Pan-Africanism finish with her part because she's been trying to speak for the longest while, if you can see. And then I would have come back because I also, me being from the Caribbean, I started to realize after listening to you guys that we share a lot of similarities as well with reference to things. And it starts to build that insight to me with reference to us as an African people. It spreads across the board globally. We all share the same problems with reference to unification. Okay then, perfect example. I'm from Trinidad and Tobago. And me studying or looking back at the Caribbean history, I realized that during the era of slavery, they took slaves from different regions or different tribes and placed them along the chain of Caribbean islands. And because of that, as time progressed, I realized that over the generational spread, we have it has dislike amidst the people of the Caribbean who have, even I don't like to use the word black skin, we all share black skin, we all came from Africa whatsoever, but there's always this separation and no form of togetherness. And it goes back to the whole topic on Pan-Africanism again, where I believe the unification of Africa would have to be coming from the finding our ways to get away from the whole tribal mindsets, or everybody wanting to say my tribe is the best, or we are this, or we are that, who want to step to the top of the ladder and govern everything else underneath. So I don't know, that's just my little insight from everything.
It's good to have you here, Brian. Appreciate your insights so much. Pan Africanism, are you here?
Oh, hi. So,
Hello.
um, in my opinion, I think the thing I'm gonna say is a little bit out of the subject, but in my opinion, the reason why Africa cannot get to a high level right now is because of the education we have. For example, in Europe, they learn the kids about great ancient Europe civilization, good stuff about Europe. When they wanna give a bad example, they take Africa, and that make European kids starting to hate African people. But the thing is that in Africa, they use the same method, so Africans start hating themselves too, because every time they wanna have a bad example, they use themselves. And every time they want to have a good example, they use European. So now in our head, we everything is kind of like upside down. To us to be successful, we need to be more European like, and we start to reject everything we have done. And another thing about why Africa cannot progress is definitely the lack of education we have about Africa. Because it's not uncommon to see black people thinking that Africa never had any civilization. They think that Europe actually created the first civilization in Africa, but that's not the truth. That is not the truth. They just when European came to Africa, they only show kind of like take a part of our culture, erase a part of our culture. That does not mean that we were not civilized. We were already civilized. So I think that's one of the major reason why we're still behind. We can say it's because we don't believe in ourselves, and we think the way to be successful is to not be ourselves, which is not true. We tend to say that all people on the planet are the same. Yes, in some way that is true, but it doesn't mean that our education needs to be the same, because we don't have the same background. And we that's why we're not supposed to learn African and European the same thing. And I can also say that Africa have a different way, have a we cannot change Africa right now. We're not supposed to think for the present. We need to think for the future, because we know that we have already been taught something at school, and now adult like 30 years old, 60 years old, they cannot change anymore, because all their life has been based on European stuff. We need to learn the kids like me to love Africa, not really. We need to lean more to the education of the kids more than people that are already like 20 years old, because the mindset of these people are already done and we cannot change them. We need to think about the future, not the present or the past. And other
Right.
thing is that the way we pursue slavery, it it's sad that in school the only thing we learn kids, including me, about black history is slavery. we
You're
we
right.
are
Yo.
idolizing them. By that I mean every by showing their kid, by only learning kids about slavery, is is only learning kids a past of weakness, or a time that we were weak, instead of like every time learning kids about slavery. We should learn them about ancient big civilization that were in Africa. Slavery was a period of time. We were weak back then because we were controlled, and reminding every kid that we were controlled by another race is not the best thing to do, because the
Oh
kids gonna
wow,
think,
this is really
oh,
very valuable stuff.
they are gonna think that we are meant to be down, not equal as them.
Mm.
All races in the world are equal, and the fact that we only learn ourselves about slavery is sad. And if we keep on doing this, we are gonna forget the history we had before slavery, which was great,
Pan
which
African.
was
Can I
incredible.
Oh
call you?
wow.
I cut you short right quick. Um,
Yeah,
I
thank you.
really thank you so much.
Oh, that's really very
Bye.
wonderful.
Olabi
Thank
That's
you.
for
awesome.
this.
Have a nice
Thank
day.
you. Thank you so much. It's good to have you here. It's good to have you here. Thank you very much. Thank you so much, Olabi, for the super chat. I really appreciate it. Thank you so much for your contribution. It means a lot. I'm so grateful. I'm so grateful. In the chat, I see QWECY. I remember you from the previous live stream. I owe you. I have just posted the link in the chat. I hope you can see it. So I definitely would love to have you on here, and we can definitely continue on from where we left off. Festus, I believe you had something to say.
Okay, okay. I was trying to talk about the issue of religion.
Yeah.
Religion has become a tool for modern day colonization. I give you an example. Cecil Rhodes, who colonized northern Rhodesia, presently known as Zimbabwe, no, Zambia, then southern Rhodesia called Zimbabwe. Now, there was a powerful king that was occupying Zambia at that time. This guy did a very manipulative trade deal with the king then. He sent some emissaries to, I watched a documentary, sent some emissaries to Zambia then. Then he said they should sign a bilateral deal. The king, they didn't even explain the thing in details to him. After like 1 week, the king now brought out those emissaries. And I said, okay, let me see what you had. Then they now told him, okay, we need to sign a trade deal that will be doing business with you and a European country. He signed it. He just put his stamp. Then Rhodes took those, immediately Rhodes received those emissaries back from the country. He now he went back to UK. The Queen of England then was Queen Victoria. He approached the Queen. He said, yes, with this agreement, we can penetrate this kingdom. It's a very rich kingdom. Then the Queen now gave him, what they call it now, military, he sorted for military powers. The Prime Minister didn't want to do that, but since the Queen has approved it, he brought those military powers, demolished the kingdom and occupied it. Now, one of the things Rhodes said was that he's going to spread Christianity around the world, and the English language is going to be the engine too. Look at Christianity today. Christianity today was marketed by the Romans. Rome, if you go to Rome, is one of the most atheist country in the world. Europe as a whole is going atheist. Agnostic is on the rise. I'm serious. Most of the churches, even CBS did a report last year. They discovered that most of the churches in Europe are already turning into beer parlors, pubs and all those other things. When Christ we worship as Christians.
Sorry to cut you. I can actually confirm that because I used to work in planning department, and I see houses like churches being converted to 220 apartment or whatever. So yeah, that's actually true.
That's crazy.
Okay, now when Christ was on earth, he was practicing Judaism. If you go to present day Israel, they still practice Judaism. They create what we practice, so they say, Christianity. Look at the whole of Europe that sold Christianity to us. They're no longer Christians. Australia, the census they did in 2016, 50% of Australians are Christians. Today, that population has reduced. When they do a census, maybe this year or late or early next year, you're going to discover that maybe 40% of Australians are Christians. No, Christian population in Australia is reducing. Now, if you look at Africa, Christianity is on the rise. Come to Nigeria, for instance, we have a pastor who said that in COVID, he bought a private jet. He said, could life be so sweet? You know, a Christ embassy was slammed in UK for some of the nefarious statement they said on air without substantiated claims. And these things go unaccounted for. You see some pastors doing all sort of miracles. You know, it's terrible. Even the healing school in South Africa, they are all scam. You know, people just say, bring money, bring money. I give you an example. In Nigeria, for instance, you see an average Christian who is working, contributing 40% of his income to church. I tell them, I said, use that income, divide it into 3. Use one part to do skill acquisition for yourself. Use another part to give to orphanages. Then use the last part to bless your parents. Try it for 3 years. If your life doesn't move forward, don't call me Festus. You can come back and disprove what I said. But people just keep on emptying their treasury in the church. And these pastors are living big. Look at all these big pastors. They all move with escort. But you tell us that Christ would protect us. Who is not lying? So if Christ will protect Festus, why is not protecting Adeboye? Why is not protecting Kumuyi? Why are people going with DSS and police? So who is fooling who? So Christianity has become a very big tool for modern day colonization. You tell somebody that he's going to be well with you when you know that the person has not eaten. Responsibility that government has to do, you abdicate it to God. You say, don't worry, God will take care of you, or you get a miracle job. My brother, if you don't apply for a job, you don't get any job. And in Nigeria, before you get a job, you have to know somebody, someone who knows somebody somewhere. So a country cannot move that way. You understand? And unfortunate part is, one of the things I wrote in my article on Facebook was that the oppressors and the oppressed, they are both in church, and they are both in what they call in a mosque. The average Muslim will be taught that, oh, this your problem is those Christians who don't believe in Allah, and they'll tell you, kill somebody in the name of Allah. What kind of stupidity is that? Then in Christendom, if you as a redeemed member, you want to marry somebody in Catholic, they'll say, no. Those people worship rosary. You know, there's a lot of division in the church. It makes no sense. That's the truth. So Christianity, what we should be practicing is for we to show love. Now, let me end with this. In my hometown, we have a deity in my hometown. We call it Ihudeli in my hometown in Abo. Now, if, for instance, I offend somebody or I falsely accuse maybe Akin or something he didn't do, and I was guilty of it. Now, if he goes to that deity and say, oh, and cries and say, oh, Festus accused me of something I didn't do, it doesn't matter what religion I hold. Within 7 days, the guilty person will die. Even the pastors know. And one of my friends in the US was telling me recently, he told me how somebody accused him back at home. He now called the politician's brother. He said, your brother is accusing me of something I don't know of, and I'm going to report him to that date. And he said, the brother said, please hold on. I'm going to talk to him. So it means we know the potency of our African spirituality. We know what it holds. So if a governor who is assuming office or a president is sworn in with a deity, nobody will steal. But you are swearing somebody in and he's carrying a Bible and he says, so help me God. By the time he leaves there, he's already emptying the treasury.
I just want to touch on, that was something, man. I want to touch on what Festus said. You want to go ahead? You can go ahead and speak.
I just wanted to give Elijah a chance to speak. Best regards, Elijah. It's good to have you here.
Thank you. It was good to be here. Just congratulations on the channel. It's really amazing channel. Learned a lot from it already. Just have to say shout out to the From Nothing channel as well. That's one of the ways I found you. They talk about, you know, how Africa didn't come from nothing. There's a lot of really great ancient civilizations from there. Learned a lot from there.
I've learned a lot from Jabari also. I love him.
He's great. He's great. I do want to, I guess, bring to people's attention the importance of looking at even prehistoric African civilizations, or really indigenous civilizations in general. Prehistoric in terms of hunter-gatherer cultures. All right. I think it's really important to look at these people, because we have, once again, like what you were saying earlier, we have this misinformation that hunter-gatherer cultures were primitive, right? That they lived miserable lives, that they, you know, had a lot of problems and stuff like that. But the current research actually shows that these hunter-gatherer cultures lived more fulfilling lives than most any other quote unquote the developed nation today, right? So these hunter-gatherer cultures had more genetic diversity, more dietary nutrition, where they didn't die from starvation. They had more egalitarianism, so everybody was equal, right? Male, females, different people from different tribals, organizations, different age groups.
Egalitarian means equality.
Yeah, basically, okay. Yeah, exactly. So these cultures, they had far better stability inside of their organizations, where the oldest living human civilization is the San people, right? The Khoisan of the Kalahari Desert. You may have heard of them. Their civilization existed for 150,000 years. 150,000 years.
Yeah,
right?
I know, like they're nicknamed the oldest people on the planet, but that is
exactly. And wow. the only reason that they're failing now is because of the diamond industry, who was taking their lands and digging it up, you know, all their stuff. So
I think they're around the South Africa region.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah, exactly. So these people, like even in a drought, like they overcame droughts, they overcame disease, all that stuff. Almost every single problem that we have in our current society comes from an agrarian society, basically agriculture, mass farming, right? Because when you create mass farming and these agricultures where you take a whole bunch of resources together, what you introduce into the system is the idea of scarcity, the idea that only certain people can get access to more resources than other people, right? And this simple idea actually created all the problems with inequality that we see today. Because once you have a collection of resources that other people don't have access to, you have a power structure. And when you have that power structure, right, you have inequality. You have people who can gatekeep and say, oh, you can't come here, you can't have access to this, you can't have that. So once again, like Festus was saying, and Pan-African was saying with religion, that religion came into creation with agriculture. Because when you have like a whole bunch of people who are farmers and they have all the resources, they can say, oh, you can't have access to this. Oh, we're the chosen one from some made up being. We're the chosen one and you can't have access to this. Right. And so before that, they had spiritualism, where everybody did rituals or did something like that, right? Where there weren't any priests, there weren't any pastors, anything like that. Everybody in the community partook in these dances and these rituals and these abilities to, you know, to observe nature or whatever and communicate. Right. But with the creation of religion, you had that separation of people who had access to things and people who did not. So that the whole problem with a lot of our cultures comes from that agrarian society. And so I think as we're moving into the future and we're looking at, you know, how can we improve ourselves, I think we need to be looking at how can we replicate some of that. Now, obviously, we can't go all the way back, but we can look at decentralized, you know, things like blockchain technology and stuff like that, right? We can look at how to decentralize resources and access to resources so that everybody has access to the same things. That's all I want to say. Thank you.
I appreciate your contribution, Elijah. You've definitely taught me a few things here. Oh yeah, I see the thumbs up. The Khoisan people now talk Afrikaans? No way. Are you serious? Oh, oh wow, Jay Sola. It is good to have you here. Shout out to GA Sola. I spoke about Jay Sola earlier in the live stream. For those who are not aware, GA Sola is a YouTuber here on and he makes great content in regards to South Africa, and I'm sure he's diversifying his
It's
community.
Shola, not Sola. It's Shola. Shola.
Are you serious? Wait, so you didn't?
That's Nigerian name, man.
No,
That's
no,
Shola, not Shola.
he's not Nigerian. He's not Nigerian. He's not Nigerian. Yeah. BA, come on, man. I'd love to have you on here. I'm gonna post the link again. Definitely come in. Love to have you on here. If you guys are not aware, Jay is Sola. He definitely makes great content. I've definitely consulted him for research. He's taught me so much in regards to Africa, and has changed my perspective also in regards to a lot of my views that I had. Sorry, I need to charge my computer. John, it is good to have you here.
Yeah. Hello, guys.
Hi, John.
It's good to be here. Hi, can you hear me?
I can hear you, Chris.
Can you hear me?
I can hear you, yeah.
All right. It's good to be here. I'm happy to be here. And your intro, I think, is one of the best intro I've listened to, since I've been watching YouTube presentation. And I can say you are one of the new breed that I think we do well. If you keep it real, because what I'm seeing out there, I have to be real with you. What I'm seeing out there, we have guys who are what I could call, what is the best name for it? I will find a name for it, but let me just tell you what you have done. You have presented a different face. Should I say oppressor? Should I say oppressor in waiting? That is what we'll be saying. All the other YouTubers I have listened to, they are just playing games, my brother. Let me tell you, the problem of Africa is very easy to solve. The problem of Africa is in our hands. The Chinese, they are not stopping us from making progress. If we have money, we can go to their continent and buy property, lend them money, and also do the same. Nobody's stopping us. But we have folks out there who claim to be concerned about Africa. They come up with all sorts of theories. They beg people to subscribe to their YouTube channel. Everybody will give them their hearts. The sooner they have those people, you see, it becomes their business. But at the very start, they will tell you, family, let's grow as family. But let's come together and fix the problem of Africa. That is where you will begin to see that is just a business for them. So let me tell you, my brothers, it's a very easy thing to fix the problem of Africa. If we want to fix it, we are about 6 guys here now. We can ask everybody, we can tell ourselves and say, man, let's look for more 10 people and meet here next week or meet somewhere next week. Once we have that 10 people, we say, okay, let's look for additional 10 people. We keep pushing like that. Once we have about 1 million people, we say, okay, let everybody raise $1. Would $1 stop you from paying your bills? It won't stop you. But do you know what $1 million can do? If we have $1 million, do you know what we can use that money to do? If we invest that money, do you know the kind of employment we will create with that kind of amount of money? Anyway, I just don't want to, I don't want to, say too much about people, but I am seeing what is going on, and I see that people are taking advantage of the problem of Africa. But I see your presentation, and I said, this guy is real, and I will follow you. I will share your link. I will encourage others to, follow your channel as well.
Thank you so much, John. I'm grateful. I'm really glad to have you here. I appreciate it. I'm really glad also that you mentioned about investing in Africa, which is actually what my video that I released today is about. There's nothing, in my opinion, that we can do that will benefit Africa more than us investing in Africa. I was just about to allow. Oh darn! I think someone just left. I was just about to permit him to come in, but the video speaks about the importance of investing in Africa. Definitely check the video out before you guys leave. It. Hi, Jasola.
Oh, hi, Akeem. It's
Yeah,
good to see you. Hello,
good to
gentlemen. How
have
are
you
you?
here, man.
Good to see
Always
everyone.
good to have you back on here.
Hello.
Thank you. Hi. What's it? Osega, Mr. Osega. It's very good to see everybody in the chat.
Okay. All right, sorry. I'm back. I think did someone have anything to say?
Yeah. Let's talk about what this the last person said. I think we need that's my major driving force. And let me emphasize on some certain things the person the last caller said. Firstly, I think one of the main reasons why I started watching this channel is because you presented facts and we are very like genuine, you understand? So like it encouraged me, oh, like this young person, talking about in detail about Africa and what's happening back home, helping to like reshape the paradigm through like knowledge because knowledge is like information capital. You understand? The more information at your disposal, the greater your wealth of experience, and the more objective your decision making will be. Then, secondly, I also say we need to start looking back at investing back home. Like I said it in the chat session before I joined, that I don't subscribe to Netflix. It's not because I don't like Netflix. I prefer my African movies. I don't say American movies are not good, but I don't really relate to their stories. But when I'm watching a Ghanaian movie, a Cameroonian movie, a Nigerian movie, I understand the concept, I understand the tradition, and it makes me like go deeper into those traditions without me naturally being to those countries. So, like I was saying that I rather subscribe to Eurocode TV because in Eurocode TV you have all the latest African movies. Some Nigerians don't even know. If you go to Netflix, you don't even get any latest African movies there. You only see more of American movies, and Netflix is like money making machine for the West. So if we like support our own African content, that will also help. And another thing is if we see also Africans who are like trying to like make a living, let's also encourage them. Let's see everywhere we can like support people back home. And if you see Nigerians also or Africans in where you live, either in Italy, in Europe, or in America, in Australia, try and lend a helping hand. Let's not be quick to like criminalize everybody and so, as far as there's this saying in church, at least, no matter how bad your state is, you're better than somebody. That is not good. So let's also lend a helping hand and support one another. I think, and let's also support African own initiatives like our African indigenous companies, by so doing while like returning money back to Africa. I'll give you the last instance. In Nigeria, for instance, Nigerians in diaspora contribute about $30 billion annually to Nigerian economy. That's what we send back home. Now, if you look at Nigerian budget for the year, you see that it's less than $30 billion. So you see that Nigerians in diaspora are actually the ones financing the country. So we are the ones that are helping the country. So all those stupid bilateral agreements that are signing with France, signing with England, and those things are not useful. Rather we should think about how we can make life easier for our people overseas. Nigerian embassies should help support Nigerians. If you see your fellow countrymen who are having police issues or maybe litigation issues, the embassy should like help with like legal support or also financial support. It also helps. You understand? So let's not just abandon our people back in foreign land. It won't help us at all. And leadership back at home. Let's try and be more people centered. You understand? The idea of amassing wealth, buying properties in Dubai and all those things, it's not helping our economy. So if you want to buy a property, if you like steal all the money from your state, use to invest in the state, build companies. And the last thing, look at a state like Akwa Ibom, where I worked before I traveled overseas. The state government is building a massive cathedral. Why are you building a cathedral? Even Rome, that is even the citadel of Christianity, they're not building cathedral again. So I think we really need to work on all those things. Let's start changing our mindset through education and right information. And lastly, let's also start getting correct information on African history. Our history has been doctored by the Western powers because it's suited to their own agenda. So I think that will help. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much. Thank you. Go ahead, man. Go ahead.
Sorry, man. I was actually, I know this was discussed earlier in the chat, but the one thing I wanted to ask was for the African guy. I don't know your name. I just see the title. There was something that you said that I wanted to ask about. When you were talking about Gaddafi and him saying that he wanted unity for Africa, but he wanted to be in charge, I found that interesting because it brings up a question that I was actually considering the other time regarding Orania. One of the main reasons that actually they didn't, the Afrikaners in South Africa, the whites.
I'm sorry, can you just speak about what Orania is before you proceed, just like quickly for those who are of Orania? By the way, Sola and I will be doing the video in the future in regards to Orania. Sorry to cut you short.
No problem. No, it's Orania is a white-only town in here in South Africa. Of course, they don't explicitly say that no. They don't explicitly say that no blacks or other people are not allowed in, but they do say that you have to be of Afrikaner, descent. You have to be an Afrikaner basically to live or work there, according to the people who run it, who are Afrikaners. There's a long history behind it, but as Akin said, we will definitely make a video about that in the future. And the question I wanted to ask the African guy, I don't know if you can hear me. Can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you.
Oh, wonderful. All right. Yeah, it was when you said Gaddafi, right? So the same reason that they didn't really make it in or develop it is also because I mentioned a bunch of reasons earlier, but then one of the main reasons was also because of the question of who would be in charge. You see, the problem is that, everybody moves in, all the Afrikaners move into the one place and everything. And then at the end, they find themselves in a situation where now they have to decide, okay, well, who's going to be on top? So I was listening to, and by the way, it was a great live stream. I've been listening to this live stream and it's been very wonderful. And I just have a question that I don't know if you guys addressed or if I missed it, but if there is unity, right, in Africa as in general, which would be a fantastic thing, if let's say we even get rid of the tribes, the borders, and all that, and Africa truly becomes united, sub-Saharan and maybe even further up, then how do you guys think, or if you've thought about it, if you've discussed it, how do you think we will handle the problem of governance? In other words, who will be basically in charge? Well, we have a kind of like EU system where you'll have like a board of people that will kind of vote each other in and out periodically, or a more kingdom-like state. That's basically.
Yeah. Can you guys hear me?
Sorry, my voice is cracking.
Can you guys
I think my voice is cracking. No, this Western powers, they want to hijack me. But anyway, I think Albert Einstein said, education makes people easy to lead but hard to govern. So with the right education, people can now make a more informed decision. It's like when I was trying to commend Akin for his channel. So when people are more informed, for instance, like the information I have at my disposal today is not the same as what I have back in 2019, because I'm researching and doing more documentaries and getting to see that most of the stories back home were like were not true. Like they were told about Africa were not true. So when people have right information, they can now make a more informed decision. So when you have a more educated team, or a rightly educated team, people can now choose who will govern them. Do you understand? People can now make decisions not based on, oh, I'm hungry and this person is giving offering me a bag of salt or a plate of rice or maybe 2,000 rands, all those kind of stuff. Not like uh, stomach motivated votes, but something that is based on your own objective decision. You understand? I give you for instance, if you look at Iraq before the invasion of Iraq by America, Iraq, the literacy level in Iraq was about 87%, which was more than that of America. But because of America wanted to benefit their own capitalist powers, so they tend to infiltrated them so that they could tap into their natural resources. You understand? So if that country wasn't destabilized, today Iraq would have been better than as it was. You get it? So if Africans are rightly informed, you're not voting on the basis of what I stand to gain, but you're now voting your conscience, somebody who represents the interests of Africans as a whole. Me, for instance, today, I don't even. Some people say, okay, we need like in my home country. Some people are of the opinion we need younger leaders. I don't have issues with older leaders, or if the leaders are from a particular part of the country. What I'm more concerned is a leadership that is visionary, that is people centered. So if we have people who are coming to govern Africa as a continent, we have about 54 states in Africa. So if we have leadership that are people centered and visionary, leaders should start telling us, okay, let's start fixing Africa one state at a time. Paul Kagame is doing very well in Rwanda. The same thing in Mauritius. Mauritius and the Seychelles. I discovered recently that Seychelles is about 95,000 people, and they have about 3 airports, international airports. Nigeria is about 211 million people. We just have 1 international airport. The other one we're just managing it. That's the Abuja International Airport. So we need to start. If all these leaders are investing back home, are more visionary and more people-centered. The leader of Seychelles is doing the same in Seychelles. Nigerian leader is doing the same. The person in Cameroon is doing the same. You see that Africa will start growing. Then to talk about AU is just a conglomerate of people who just meet to just exchange pleasantries. They don't do anything. If you look at some of the crises that happen in Africa, what has AU done? During the 1980s, after 2 decades of independence of most African states, we had about 40 coups in Africa. What was AU doing? AU was set up before then. So these are some of the issues. And why will African states be approaching World Bank and IMF for loan? Why can't we fund African Development Bank? Do you know that Greece doesn't approach World Bank for loan? Greece is being bailed out by European countries. So if AU is to meet to move the propagation of African states, if an African state is having debt crisis, the other African states, like what they do in EU, generally bail out Greece. So if Nigeria is a more financially placed position, can say, okay, let's give out $5 million or $1 billion to Cameroon to support their educational strides. That helps the country, because if you are trading, if you are doing all these things within your continent, it is much easier than when you go outside and you now have more Western powers infiltrating your foreign and domestic policy. Do you understand me? So these are some of the issues we need to start confronting. So we have a lot of leaders back home that can do the same. I'll give you an example. The current leader, president of African Development Bank, he raised about $120 billion for ADB. That's one of the reasons why America saw these guys as a threat to American interests, because most Africans are no longer coming to World Bank to take agricultural loan. So if all these leaders that are more people centered are gaining, are occupying seat of power, it will help grow the African interest. And people should stop looking at what do I stand to gain. Let's start looking at the collective interest of all our people. So that's why education is very important. One. Another thing is economic empowerment, because somebody who is hungry will still make poor choices. So when you know that you don't have food to eat tomorrow, and you now have somebody who is coming to offer you $5,000, even if the person is a clown, you can give him your vote. So we need to start looking at economic empowerment back home. I think all those things will also help us. So that's just my own viewpoint.
Can you hear me?
I can hear you.
Okay. Yeah. So
sorry. Before you go, so I'd like to end the live stream within the next 5 minutes, if possible. I have a long drive ahead of me, and I am immensely sleep deprived. So I definitely would love to do this at least once a week with you guys, or come here and we just have a conversation. Go ahead, Jamel.
Okay, just to add on what Festus was saying, I take a different view, because the same Festus is saying that we do have competent leaders who can sort of play that kind of savior role for us. But the problem with that I see is there's a quote that says, "Absolute power corrupts absolutely." You know, if you give one person the power, whoever it is, it doesn't matter how competent they are. You give someone like a Paul Kagame, he's doing fantastic right now, by the way. But if you give that guy absolute power, at a point, something is going to click, and he's going to get corrupted. Do you understand? If you guys remember Robert Mugabe, he started out perfectly fine, right? He had great dreams for Africa, great ideas for what his country, Zimbabwe, could do. Well, Rhodesia at the time could do, right? But this man finally got to the point where he had all of this massive power, and a source of human greediness comes in. So to answer your question, I think the only way that we can have a unified Africa is to take consideration that, number one, we're all different, right? From south to east to west to north. We're different people in terms of culturally. We have a lot of similarities, but at the end of the day, we have a little bit of distinct things that are different, right? So we have to cater to all of those differences when we create a board of people who are going to represent us. So I would say, in that sense, we have to represent every side of Africa equally, or we're just going to go back to the point where it's like it's going to be a massive civil war. Because let's say for some reason, whoever is the most competent guy is from East Africa. He's a Kenyan man from East Africa. At a certain point, a West African man is going to say, you know what? I'm sick and tired of this. We want to lead too. We have great ideas. So the only way is we have this union. I'm not saying the African Union, but we can form another union where we have representatives from each region of Africa, right? We can split Africa into more regions and have people from each regions of Africa that will rotate. Every now and then we can send these people out to represent the ideas or the claims that the mass wants. I think that's the only way. That's the only way we can think about maybe uniting Africa, but we can never have one savior, a guy who comes in and change Africa. I don't think that's possible.
Can I say something really very quickly? Two things really. It's going to be really very quickly. So first, I totally agree with you. I think to unite, I don't think we need a united state of Africa, but we need to be united. Things like, not need to get visa to go to each African country, to trade more with each other. So not almost like what Europe have, like, they have European Union. So they don't really, French, Germany and whatever. So they are not really like United States of Europe. So everybody do their own thing, but they are united. So we definitely need that. The second thing I want to say is there's one adage about you can't teach a old dog a new trick. Is that right? A old dog a new trick. Yeah. So almost like, there's something in the head of, all the old folks, and even including myself, I'm in my 40s. There's some things in our subconscious mind that is just really very difficult to get out. I think we need something like maybe a Pan-Africanism or whatever in school, from primary school, to be teaching children about Africa, how to value Africa, how to know, you understand what I mean? So like, so you have like, if somebody studied philosophy in the uni or something like, they might be teaching them things about, you know, what's the guy in the UK? What's the guy from Warwick? I can't remember his name now. So like, you know, there's sort of like a philosopher, great philosophers of Europe and America. But where had the one from Africa? You know, there are some in Africa as well, but they don't really teach them about that. So yeah, teaching from elementary level, having something really specific, I don't know, whatever it's going to be called, whether patriotism or whatever, to start teaching them something from primary school. And then all these things we're talking about, it might actually be in the next 50 years before it will happen, you know. And yeah, so because all these, you know, in the big civilization, it takes a long time, sometime, before they get to where they want to get to, but starting from the elementary level. Thanks.
Thank you all so much. I'm really glad to have you all here. I appreciate all of your time. Appreciate you all spending this time with me. Before you guys go, don't forget to check out my new video. It is titled "Why You Must Invest in Africa Now." It's a very, well, I think investing in Africa, in my opinion, well, us investing in Africa, in my opinion, is the only way in which we can liberate Africa as a whole, and actually increase Africa's power on the global scale by us investing in Africa. Because believe it or not, everyone else is investing in Africa. In China, the Chinese government encouraged Chinese citizens to come to Africa to invest. That's not entirely a bad thing, but if this persists, it definitely will keep on going. It definitely will go wrong. And in this video, I mentioned of how that happens. I think I'll end it there. I don't want to keep on blabbing on. Definitely check out the video. It might play after this live stream. I'm not exactly sure. But if it doesn't, you can head over to my channel and you'll see it. It should be the first video titled "Why You Must Invest in Africa Now." Thank you all so much for spending this time with me. I love you all so much. Have a good one, you guys.
Peace to you.